Hey y'all, I am here today again on Thursday for our Lunchtime Live Series. Now, today we're running a little later than our lunchtime, but hey, we're here and we're going to get started. And so today I wanted to talk to us about, have you ever had those times as a parent where your child, let's say you're redirecting your child or something's going on, and your child says something like, nobody loves me, or I'm a failure, or I just really hate being here, or I hate you being my mom, or I hate you being my dad. Sometimes we do have those things, and as a parent, when we hear those words, we feel like, man, what have I done wrong, or what can I do, or how can I support my child, or how can I fix my child? But I'm here to tell you today that you are not alone. Like, I've heard this so many times from different parents. I've experienced this myself as a parent, where we have these moments where we know that our kids are struggling because they're saying things that are very negative things that we don't want them to have as their everyday language. But we don't always know how to respond. And we feel stuck because we don't want to say the wrong thing and feel like we're pushing them over the edge. And so it gets us sometimes stuck in this cycle. So today we're going to dive into it. What does that mean? Where does it come from? And we're going to talk about 3 steps that we can do to be able to help them when they're having those tough moments. I'm Megan Ham. I'm a licensed professional counselor, registered play therapist. I'm also the founder of this group, Master Meltdown Moments. I'm a parent-child relationship expert, and my goal is to empower foster and adoptive parents to be able to navigate meltdown moments so that they can create happier homes and have better relationships with their children. And so today what I want us to do is we're going to take a deep breath together, and we're going to navigate some of these moments that we oftentimes have as a parent. So remember I said, what are some of the things that come up for us as parents when our children say things like, nobody loves me, I'm a failure, nobody wants to be around me, I hate being here, and we're just stuck. I have this conversation with parents on numerous occasions, and most of the times it's like during an intake assessment, that first time we meet each other, and then sometimes throughout the therapy process where parents come and they say, well, Miss Megan, I just don't know. Like, he's saying these things, he's doing these things, and people are telling me that they're trying to that he's manipulating me or she's manipulating me, and they're just using those words to get out of doing something they don't want to do. But I want to tell you that sometimes negative language is sometimes we're going to call it negative language. Negative self-talk is something that kids sometimes use when they don't know what else to do, right? And so a lot of times part of our job is to be able to be with them, to be able to help them, and being able to support them in how they need it. And so I want you to think about when your child says something like, I'm stupid, I can't do this, nobody likes me, nobody loves me, I know you don't love me. I want you to think about 3 things, like 3 steps that we're going to do. The first one is I want you to pause for yourself. For you to take a pause and be able to take a deep breath. Because if you are having a hard time staying calm in the moment, it's going to be hard for you to help your child stay calm in the moment. Or being able to, as we call it, regulating. And so hearing our kids say stuff like, I'm a failure, it really does trigger something deep down in us to make us feel like we're doing something wrong, or honestly that we're a failure, that we're not doing good enough. So I want you to realize, to take a deep breath and realize that your child is speaking from their pain, and it's not a reflection of you or something that you're doing, but it's just kind of where they are in that tough moment. And so I want you to think about that. I want you to pause and being able to create a space where you can respond, right? Calmly to them instead of reacting to the words that they're saying. And some of the things that I tell parents to say is, you know what? It sounds like you're having a really tough moment right now. It sounds like this is a hard moment for you. It sounds like it's really tough for you right now. But also, I need you to tell yourself that, hey, this is a hard moment. This is really tough. My child is needing me. I need to be able to be there for them. So I need to be able to find ways to regulate myself, whether it's taking some deep breaths, whether it's taking a break. Like, I really believe in the pause. And if anybody talks about kids, they'll tell you sometimes in the middle of a meltdown or a moment, I'll say, "Hey, I need a break," because I know that if I don't regulate myself, then it's just going to become a power struggle, right? So the second part, so the first one is pause and being able to regulate ourselves. So the second one is going to be able to connect and validate their feelings. You know, kids sometimes will say things, and sometimes kids do say stuff just to get a response, right? That's just, we're human. But kids will say things, and as parents, especially when they're saying something negative, our natural response is to, no, that's not true. You know, oh, I love you, and we do love you, and the family loves you, and we want you here, right? So we are trying to change what they're saying that they're feeling. And one of the things I want to encourage us to do is being able to just connect with them and validate what they're feeling, right? Meeting them where they are emotionally and not trying to change what they're saying, but just validating the feeling behind it. And sometimes we may say like, man, that sounds really hard, right? I can see why you're feeling that way right now. Or, man, I know you're really disappointed because you had to get off of the game, and I can see why you feel like nothing ever goes your way. Or, man, I know it's really hard when you didn't do your schoolwork at school, so now you're on punishment, and it could make you feel like nobody loves you, right? That doesn't mean that you're reinforcing what they're saying. It doesn't mean that you're agreeing with them. What you're doing is connecting with them just to say, hey, this is where you are, and I can meet you there emotionally. And so the last thing is being able to reframe it. Now, I don't want you to meet them there and stay there with them. I do think it's important that once you have regulated yourself, so that's the pause, right? You've connected with your child by validating how they feel. And then we reframe what they said. Because once they feel like they have been heard, then you can guide them towards a new way of saying things, right? But you're not forcing them to feel a certain kind of way. You're not forcing them to be positive. You're not fixing what they're feeling. But really, you're just helping them see the growth, the potential, and the strength in themselves. And so you might say something like, you know, I know it feels like you can't do anything right today, but I also know someone that you're going to keep trying. I also know that you don't give up. I also know that, oh, this thing can be really hard, but I also know that you may not know how to do it yet. And that's when we encourage them with that reframe, and we're giving them the words to use. A lot of times, too, with parents, it's like, oh, but, you know, Miss Megan, that might come easy to you because you know these words. But being able to think about what is the thing that they're saying, and then how can I come back and not minimize it, but just saying, hey, not yet. You know, hey, that is really tough. It seems like it's really hard to do that. But I have faith, or I know that you'll keep trying, right? But we're not telling them, oh, it's gonna get better, because honestly, we can't promise to get better, right? We can promise that if we continue to try, that it could get better, but we can't promise to get better part, if that makes sense, right? So, sorry, excuse me. So one thing I want you to think about is so another thing I want you to think about is when your child is saying these things, they're saying these painful words, they're saying these hurtful words, I want you to recognize that it doesn't mean that you did something wrong as a parent, right? All it means is that your child is human, your child is having big feelings, and they're expressing it through their words, right? But it does not mean that they are not safe all the time, and it doesn't mean that, oh, we need to, take the next steps. The biggest thing is you don't have to have all the answers. Sometimes, even me as a parent, and I talk to parents all the time, and I'm a parent, sometimes, my kids can say things that kind of will make me have to pause and really be intentional in the words that I use. And realizing that just us, our presence of us being a calm presence definitely works wonders when it comes to when your kids are having big moments or they're struggling or having things that are going on. So what I want you to remember, that when your kids are having things to remember, when your kids are having these big moments where they are feeling, sometimes they're saying the negative things like, oh, nobody loves me, I don't want to be here, you really don't want me to be your kid, all the things that they can sometimes say, the first thing we have to do is pause, right? We have to be able to pause so that we can reconnect and we can center ourselves. Because if we're not calm, then we're not able to help them. The second thing that we can do is connect to them and validate what they're feeling. So, hey, I see that you are feeling frustrated, because that's a big thing that you have to do. Just validating where they are. And the third thing is helping them reframe. And a lot of times I do that and just using the word, yeah, hey, that was really tough. It seems like you are really working hard, but I know that you're not going to give up, because I know that you are going to work on being able to do it. Or you don't know how to do it yet, but you're willing to keep trying. So if any of that resonated with you, or if the message helped you in how you can handle these moments, I want you to be able to invite somebody to the group. Let them know that we're going to be here on Thursdays on our Lunchtime Live, and we'll have different topics that we talk about. But in terms of, you can get involved, because if there is a topic that you want to talk about, just definitely drop it in the group, and we can also put a video together for that. Any tips, any experience that you've had with dealing with a child who dealing with a moment that your child had where they use negative language, I love to hear how you dealt with it. I love to hear how it's going. If you have any questions or concerns, I'm here in the group. And thank you so much. You have a good day.